welcome to Tech Talk this week, and with you today, of course, I'm your host, Michael Armogan, and with us today is our guest, Vicquell.
Nice.
He's looking all nice inside a little turtleneck. Vicky, we've had a lot of really interesting things happen this week. A lot of iPhone stuff or iOS stuff. Or can you tell me a little bit more about like these? Because I know Apple came out with their whole new little update that. Now I know the update said the leak said it was about 50 something. The update said it was about 70 something, and then news are saying like hundreds of new emojis, and I'm like,
not that much. I think the official update said about 60 or 70, between that range. I feel like it was 60, like new emojis. I think because I tweeted the photo. But then, like, cause I feel like everybody else looked past everything else. Like, once they saw a new emoji, it's just like, okay, click update. They just look past everything else. But yeah, with the update, it came with. I'll tell you right now exactly how much money emojis. And I called it, by the way. I said that they were releasing the update Tuesday, and there it was.
well,
But yeah, it came out.
don't they normally come out Tuesdays?
Oh no, because like they never confirmed. Well, they usually don't confirm when they're releasing it, but it just was like kind of was like a hunch because last week they had beta 5 for it, and then like I think Monday they pushed iOS 11.2 beta 1, so just was like, okay, clearly iOS 11.1 coming out this week sometime. So it's like, you know what, it's either gonna come out between Tuesday or Monday. The beta for 11.2 came out Monday, so then the official public version for 11.1 came on Tuesday. But it was 70 new emojis, and like it was they did like some back fixes because like there's been instances whereas you could kind of bypass the lock screen to get inside people's photos and stuff like that with iOS 11. So they had an issue with something, I think one was Siri, and they fixed that. They patched the one with Siri, and there was something else, and they patched it as well. And they also addressed the issue with the whole Wi-Fi, the whole what is WAP? The whole Wi-Fi.
Oh, you mean
situation.
WPA2 getting
Yes.
cracked?
Yeah, they fixed that in 11.1. Well, they addressed it in 11.1. And they had like a few other ones, but I can't remember it like off my head.
Okay.
And they finally fixed the issue that was bothering me from 11.
Which one?
0.0. Well, that too. I don't think they fixed anything else that really bothered me with the whole Wi-Fi thing. But they finally fixed the notifications for the Apple Watches, where it would show the default app icon. They finally fixed that to display the proper icon for the app now, which was really bothering me from like the first time I updated. With macOS, I feel like macOS didn't fix nothing because I think my computer still like has its glitches when sometimes like my iTunes keys don't work. So I clearly they didn't address that situation. It's probably not like that important for them at this present moment. They clearly didn't address that. And that was like mainly for me that was the main macOS High Sierra issue that I had. And like a few other people had it, but like I don't think they addressed it because like it still did the same thing after I updated. So
You know, I'm taking a look at some of these emojis now, and I'm wondering, like, do we really need these emojis?
yes, I can't wait. Like I don't curse, but like I can't wait to like use the cursing emoji because it's gonna be like a substitute. It's gonna be like a substitute for me because like I don't curse, so it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna like drop this emoji here, and it's gonna be like my substitute for me cursing.
Okay, but like, do we really need an emoji of a curling stone?
Yes, you have to show more like equality. You know, you have to make it feel like it's fully there within like the SWAT range. Because like that like when before they updated their flags, I'm pretty much sure the countries that didn't have flags, they're always like, oh, Apple don't have our flag on the emoji keyboard. They said blah blah blah. So I think it's kind of like the same way as sports. You gotta like at least recognize it.
There
Give it.
are thousands of sports, though.
Yeah, but give it a little bit of appreciation. I see they add like the little Chinese. They add Chinese food takeout. They also add chopsticks.
They have a trench coat, which can obviously be used for someone flashing someone. I think that's the main reason why that's going to be used.
And like they have like genderless emojis now, which look female, so I don't understand it.
But then they at the same time, they also still have differentiation, like man in a steamy room and a woman in a steamy room. So I don't get the whole purpose behind that.
I love how emojis have now branched out. And then in 11.2, they changed the Scotch emoji. They make it a little bit more realistic.
I mean, I'll admit, some of these you can really tell the detail that was placed inside of it, but like, some of these I just don't really see the purpose. Like, I'm sorry.
From 11, I mean, from I think it was 10 point something when they updated, when they like completely revamped the looks of the emojis. It's like, oh, like they made the emoji look so realistic. Like the eyes, like when I first started using the eyes, it would look so creepy with the new update compared to when I used to use it back in the day when it was like still flat. I don't think like people are gonna use like I feel like people are gonna use probably about 9% of the emojis that's actually in their phone.
Okay, so there's something interesting that I'm seeing here, and I'm not certain if this is the actual name for it, but it's listed. Business Insider's Tech Insider has it listed as this: person with headscarf. And I'm sorry, that very much to me looks like a hijab, which is a Muslim hood, for lack of a better word, that females wear. And the character is obviously very female. Like, why not just call it hijab? Woman in hijab.
Hijab.
Okay, that's kind of weird right there. I mean, why do we need a sauropod? Why do we need a hedgehog?
Because they want it. I mean, why do we need like they put dinosaur and they got like the giraffe emoji now and the zebra.
Exactly.
Like,
like why do we need these?
No, because like when you go into like the zoo, you could like put like a picture of like a zebra or like a giraffe or something, like when you, I guess, tweeting or like posting up a photo on Snapchat or something.
Oh, so you mean taking a photo of a zebra instead of using an emoji of a zebra?
You can like take a picture of the zebra and like to emphasize the zebra, you also put like emojis of the zebra. Like how people do it and like maybe twist it or something.
That's I don't know if that is something people should really emulate right there.
Some people do it, so I could see them.
Anyway, has this update fixed the 1 + 2 + 3 little design flaw that was available with iOS and Mac?
I'm gonna check it right now. I think it did though. 1 + 2 + 3. Nope. Oh wait. No, it didn't.
So, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, and I mean, not everyone will, what happens is when you are when you go to the calculator on the iPhone using iOS 11, because of the way how they have things designed. When you press a button, it kind of blows up a little bit and like glows or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. And so it doesn't recognize that you're putting in other characters while it's doing that. So you would try to put in 1 + 2 + 3, and you'll end up, instead of having 6, it's showing up 23. Whatever. Well, I still don't quite understand how you get 23 and it doesn't recognize 1.
Yeah, like, okay, wait. When you press 1 and then plus, and then when you get 23, when you click equal, it go to 24.
Ah, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So it doesn't read like that, the animation between 2 and 3.
So it reads the animation between 1 and 2.
Yeah, so it doesn't read between 2 and 3. It doesn't read between 2 and 3.
Nice.
All I could do was laugh this year. Like, this year with software, Apple just was in there. I have to admit that. It was more flaws and like all their softwares, every last one straight down. The TV OS had issues.
Something happened this year. I think I blame Trump.
iPhone 10. I believe I realized. I feel like they were so focused and like wrapped around that they just didn't like give their software the TLC that it needed.
I don't know, because I mean, it's not just Apple that only had problems with software as well. It's like what happened with the Pixel 2. Like, people are even saying that that's gonna get, they're gonna try and make a lawsuit out of the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. It's like, software on a whole this year has just been kind of I mean, okay, I'm very much derailing us, but I mean, even with Assassin's Creed Origins, like when I'm playing that on the PC and I click out by accident, come back, like I had an issue with it not recognizing the movement keys. So to move, I am quite literally swinging my sword just to move forward. And I'm like, there's gotta be a better way to this. Like, something's gotta be fixed. Then I have to close out my game, come back, and then it starts to work again until I click out again.
Yeah. This year must have not been the year. I got it. People try again next year.
Yeah. Hopefully next year isn't a crap fest. That's all I can say. I can only hope that it's not a downward spiral right now.
Hopefully not.
But I know that the iPhone 10, because you were mentioning like they were focusing on that, and maybe that's the reason for all these bugs. What about the Mac computers? Because that's also happening on them as well with the whole 1 + 2 + 3 thing. Like, I want to hear your reasoning now.
I can't even defend them for that. Like it calculator isn't working. Your iTunes keys are not working. Come on, like those are things people use like just about every day. Like, how could you have them not working and having a bug with them for your Mac OS software?
They know that you'll sit back and take it.
Yeah.
Oh, you will actually admit it.
Like, I honestly, it's just like we gotta wait until they decide to fix it. Like with the watch thing, they don't push out 2 updates since the watch thing happened, and they just decided to fix it in 11.1. All I had to do was sit back and wait for them to decide to fix it. Yep.
So you know the reasoning why that whole lawsuit between the Pixel 2 thing is happening, right?
No, I don't actually. But I know due to like the screen issue. I don't know if it was more added to that.
Yeah, so it was roughly 3 things. It was the screen. Well, they were pretty much all screen related. But the essence behind it was that Google sold them a defective product. So, in turn, with all these bugs, technically, isn't that a defective product as well?
But they didn't sell well, minus the persons that bought the new phones this year and the new watches this year. They didn't sell me the products with the latest firmware. I had the option to either stay at Mac OS Sierra or update to Mac OS High Sierra.
Okay, but what about the iPhone 8 and watch that you now have for whatever? Because you didn't wait like you were saying you were going to.
Well, my watch so far doesn't have any issues, knock on wood. And the phone came with 11 point, I don't know, on. Actually, no, 11.0 point something. So yeah. But before then, I had a 6 and I had the option to update, and that's when I encountered most of my bugs. So that the same thing applies to my laptop for my 6.
So they rolled out defective software.
Yes.
You want to know something that's amazing?
What? The fact that I'm still here?
Well, I mean, there's that, but Apple's warranty, pretty much the agreement that you make with Apple when you get your device, says you can't do anything for them for software. Like, you can't return anything that's software based. It can only be hardware.
Oh. Well then.
So the software could brick your phone.
And I wouldn't have an issue. That's what happened last year when iOS 11, when iOS 10 came out. It kind of bricked some person's phone. I always wondered how they sorted that out.
I mean, more than likely they would have just dealt something with it then, but you can't really take them to court and say like it was in the warranty kind of thing for it. If they decide to do it, then they decide to do it. If they don't, then you're pretty much screwed.
I feel this is in that disclaimer part where it's all like, oh, accept the terms, and everybody says click OK. It's in there.
Pretty much. It's inside the paper document that, no one ever reads, inside the user manual or something like that.
Oh, that's what the little thin two-sided thing is?
I think so. But I know it's listed somewhere. Pretty much any carrier has to say it. Like when people buy an iPhone, like contracted or anything like that, it's inside there. Trust me, it is.
Oh, I can't lie, I never look at those.
That's the key thing right there. People never look at them. And like you are supposed to. The person you're getting your phone from should tell you, like, look at this.
I've never looked at them. I feel like they just work. So I'm just like, okay, turn it on, stick my SIM in, install my backup, and it works.
My.
I look for the stickers because they're always going to be there. I have a trail load of stickers right now.
Actually, the stickers aren't always there. Like there are some, like I've seen some people buy iPhones and it's just
they don't get stickers.
They don't get stickers.
They had a defective product. Nope. I feel for everything but the watch, I've seen had stickers for me. My watch didn't have stickers. I actually went looking for my stickers for my watch.
I think you are lucky. I think you're lucky. Now, moving off from iPhone, because I try not to bash them too much with their defective product. But two sets of companies came out with new phones last night. The first being Razer, and their very uncreative name, Razer Phone. This slab of a phone, because I can't really call it much more than that, came out and is like, okay, we're by the company which is made for gamers by gamers, and it's very much a gaming phone. At least that's the premise behind it. So we've got a guy that goes on a keynote and says insane. I think you could probably make a drinking game out of it. I would guess 30 times during the entire keynote. Just the continuous word insane. It's actually in one of the slides where it says insane as well, and everyone laughs just because of how much he's actually said the word. I kind of feel bad for Razer at that particular point.
Oh my.
Now, I will admit, the phone in itself, excluding
It's
the camera,
amazing.
the phone in itself, excluding the camera, and this is going purely on specs, is amazing. Like, it legit
Yeah.
is a gamer's phone. Like, this is the phone you would want. It's got... Okay, so the Note 8, which for whatever reason, they never actually compared with the Razer phone. They only compared it to the S8. The Note 8 has 6 gigs of RAM. The Razer phone has 8. For starters, why do we even need that much memory?
I prefer to have more than less.
But that's you, like, you always want more and more so you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
But, like, at some point it has to come to a halt. Like, when is too much too much? When is, like, enough? When is too much too much?
I wonder how much RAM we're going to have in the future for some of these smartphones. Cheers. I feel they're going to do it.
I feel like that if we really don't, like, buckle down, that might be the case. Because, I mean, laptops and computers, they have, like, 64... Well, most have, like, 16 to 64 gigs of RAM. Roughly there speaking. This already has 8. That's why. We don't... I mean, okay. I take a look at the reviewers. They all say it runs buttery smooth. It's one of the, like, the fastest and, like, best performing smartphones they've really tested. And I'm guessing that's probably because of the 8 gigs of RAM, along with them working with Qualcomm to really get things going. But I feel like we shouldn't go more than that, and I'm afraid this is setting a precedent.
It's gonna go more than that. I feel like we're like in this day and age. I found out that some people don't realize, okay, when it's time to slow it down and, like, have like a limit for a moment and then later on progress. So I feel like as the time goes by, then yeah, we're gonna have more.
By the way, hi, Mr. Juan. That's gonna bug me. I will admit, that's really gonna bug me.
Like the headphone jack?
Yes, like the headphone jack, which this phone also does not have on it. It's using DAC, which is the same thing that iPhone is pretty much doing with their little adapters for the headphone jack to be plugged into the USB-C port, and then it gives you autofile quality. And okay, I'll admit, the speakers on it are nice, just because it's, like, all across the bottom and the top, and so, like, you've got a really nice speaker.
It's like stereo Dolby speakers.
Yeah, so it's Dolby audio and THX certified speakers. And like I said, they cover the entire thing. But, and of course, take THX at, assault, because technically Razer also owns them. So that certification, a lot of people are just saying, take that with a grain of salt. Oh, Mr. Juan, you're asking where Chris is today. Chris said he was going to be running late and he wasn't sure if he was going to make the show. Continued on without him. If he decides to show up, then
we'll just throw him in.
Pretty much. As what we're talking about right now, we're talking about the Razer phone. We just finished talking about the iPhone. and some of the little quirks that have been happening with that, like the design overruling function feature in both the iPhone and the Mac calculator, as well as the update for that. Actually, there are some things that we're going to probably still come back and talk about the iPhone about it, but I want to finish up with the Razer Phone first. So yeah, we've got pretty much what people are saying are the loudest speakers on a phone. And I mean, that's great if you're listening to music, but also at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, but what about the people around you? Like when you're blaring off or your ringtone goes off and you've got that at max, that's going to probably annoy the living bejesus out of people.
Yep. So you probably have to set your ringtone volume to like at a certain standpoint, and then just like use your regular volume for like when you want to use it for everything else but ringtone. Yeah, that's what I had to do with my phone, because like the volume buttons controls both.
Yeah.
And like I got tired of changing when I go to go change like something else. For when I went to go change the main volume instead of the ringtone volume, I was like, you know what? I just locked it. I just locked it at like one standpoint. I was like, okay, this is gonna stay there for the rest of the time, because it gets annoying.
I can imagine. I mean,
Yeah. And if it got annoying for me, I can imagine the person to when the person to own the Razer phone starts blazing off, it's gonna get annoying to them.
yeah.
Especially if you have like them little ding type of notification.
Or the ones that play songs. Well, you know, Jesus, take the wheel, take me where I am. I'm like,
I know people still put like music files as their ringtones.
yeah, people do. It's
I thought everybody like got like stuck with the default ringtones.
I honestly do use. Okay, no, I lie. I use a ringtone that I took from a game, which is Zelda. But I mean, like, people think it's like the ice cream truck for whatever reason, and I'm like, okay. No, legit. Okay, hold on one second. Let me play it for you.
That's a neat sweater.
Thank you. Where is my phone? What? No, that's it. My alarm. Media storage. Right, so that's just a short little part of it. But legit, it's Ocarina of Time, but people think it's, you know, an ice cream truck. Which I've never heard. Like, I hear Rugrats and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah, I hear Rugrats. I
Yeah.
feel like Rugrats is like the main theme song for ice cream trucks.
Even though, like, kids nowadays don't even know what the hell.
Yes.
But, yeah, there are some other really nice features. Going back to the sound really quickly, each speaker has its own dedicated amplifier as well. So that's really going to be like a lot of sound right there. I think people are really going to have to start watching out, because when they have a phone conversation going as well, people tend not to have their phone.
It's gonna start blasting out, and other people can hear your conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think that happens now with just like the regular stereo like quality. So you can imagine.
exactly.
I didn't
Exactly.
think about that.
Now, like they're saying inside chat, there are some really nice other features to this device. The screen is probably one of the biggest ones that they've tried to highlight, and the fact that it's okay, yes, it's a really nice, colorful, vibrant display. It's not from somewhere like Samsung, and thank God it's not from LG. But I forget exactly. I think it's Ignex they got their screen from, which they say is the same company that makes the screens for the Razer Blade computers that they use. So they worked with them and brought out these 120 hertz, which is 120 frames per second screens on these devices. There are not even apps made for that. They actually had to go to the app developers and say, hey, can you make a 120 frames per second version of your game so it can play on this? Like, otherwise, you're going to start getting screen tearing when you play like lower frame games. Granted, they actually were smart with that, and they did the adaptive technology with it. So if, for example, you're playing a 30 frames per second game, it's going to move down to 30 frames per second, so you're not going to get that screen tearing, which I think was brilliant. But again, is that too much on a phone? Has mobile gaming really come that far to really say it's worth it?
Considering the company that's creating the phone, I would say that it's not too much for them. And I think that the Razer fanboys and fangirls well, they're laptops already. I feel like they're going to like move to like progress to their phone, because like, me, I like ecosystem. I love my ecosystem quite fine. So if they're like the same way, then they're probably going to progress to their phones as well, because they already have their laptops. In a sense of mobile gaming, I don't think it's 100% there, but maybe now with the development of this phone, it may then push mobile gaming a bit more. So I don't think it's 100% there for them to be like, okay, I'm about to do like some serious hardcore gaming on my phone.
Okay, I can kind of get that. They did pair up with an interesting company for one of the games, Tencent, which is one of the biggest companies when it comes to gaming in the world. League of Legends, Tencent owns Riot Games, who makes that game. They own a lot of games across the world that people probably don't even know Tencent owns. And some of the Chinese anime that we are probably watching, if you look at the beginning of it, it will actually say Tencent. So they are really far-reaching. Kind of interesting. But I don't know. This phone just really seems like a lot. You'd use an external joystick to play with your phone? Really, Mr. Wan? Okay. I mean, I could see that more with a tablet, but with a phone? But, while I wait for that answer, I mean, sure. Okay, so it's got an octa-core processor. It's got a great screen. The camera's kind of meh, just based on what everyone's saying and some of the pictures that we've seen. The battery is 4,000 milliamps.
Battery is amazing.
Like,
sorry.
I think there was only one other phone this year that came out with that. But just for reference, the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, so that's the bigger version of the phone, is only 3,500. The Note 8 is 3,600. The iPhone 10 is a little under 3,000. What the hell? He literally said he can play Hearthstone for 7 hours continuously without needing to charge his phone. 61 hours of listening to music at 25% volume and it being locally played on his device.
You have to have a beefy battery to do the things that the phone does. And the fact that they have like a cooling system properly implemented so that the phone does not run hot.
That is awesome. Like, okay, I'll admit, I think it was last year, they were saying they were going to go with the water cooling system inside the phones, and that never really panned out. I think Samsung did a half-assed version of that, with it having a little piece of gel inside there, and saying that the gel was the water cooling element to it. That's not water cooling. It was just like, it wasn't even a pipe. It was just like something overlaying it with a gel. And I'm like, no. Like, I even asked the representative, and they're like, yeah, well, they couldn't give me a good answer for it. And I'm like, seriously? Well, I mean, yeah, Mr. Wan, you kind of do have a point, but I personally don't believe mobile gaming is there yet. Like, there are nice games out there, and I think they could probably be better played on tablets. So if Razer was to come out with a tablet, I think that'd be really nice.
I can't even play games on my iPad. Well, for me, I can't play games.
What?
Like, when my hands are really small, it's like when I go to hold up.
I'm sorry for laughing.
Like, I'm basically holding up like almost a laptop for me. So like I'd have to like be stretching like this, like extend my hand and stuff. So it's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother. Like if I play anything, it's usually on my phone.
My. Sorry, Vicky, for laughing. Kind of. Kind of. But yeah, I mean, they went during that whole keynote. They went over and over and over, pretty much some of the same points that they brought up. Which was, what was it? Watch, listen, play, or something along those lines. So.
Oh, their slogan.
Well, for the Razer phone, yeah.
Yeah, for the phone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is an interesting point, Mr. Wan. Like, he's saying that companies would make. He does not think that companies would make a perfect phone for users. They should always make something less. But I mean, do we really want that? I mean, look at the devices that came out like a few decades ago. Those were hardy devices. Well, hardy electronics that lasted decades.
Years.
Nowadays, you get a device and that starts breaking down.
You have a battery issue within like the first year. Like the first day, you got a battery issue.
Yeah, so like we need quality to start coming back up. I mean, I get you want to get more revenue for your company, but quality should be a thing. Like, innovation is what you should really be aiming for. Not intentionally having your phones or your devices like starting to crap out after a certain period of time. Which is one of the reasons why I really think the Razer phone with since it's a metal body, using that as a heatsink is a nice idea. It saves the battery life, I hope. Well, it saves the phone life, I hope. But at the same time, you know, they had the Razer watch, and I forget if that's the proper name for it, but they don't really have any support for that anymore. So I'm kind of worried, like, is this going to be another one-off thing and then they're just going to drop it?
Was it like smart watches that they have now?
Yeah.
No.
I think it was more like a
Fitbit
in a sense.
Ah, okay.
But it didn't really
pick up.
I don't think they did it well. So no, it didn't. I mean, I don't know anyone that got one. And for those people that did get one, there's like no support out there for it anymore. So I don't know. And then with people saying that the camera on this is already pretty, I mean, it's not really great, when every other phone has been like really improving their cameras this year. I mean, granted, it's a different direction, but
I feel like that's all everybody focusing on.
everyone loves taking photos.
And he was like, oh, let's just throw a high megapixel on this phone, and people just like Google over it. I'm just there like, not everything in the smartphone is cameras. Like I feel like I barely use my camera on my phone.
Well, I think that's the reason why they made this particular phone, because the more hardware inside of it, I mean, if you base it off of like Windows and Macs and basic computers, the more you push inside of it, the better it should become. Roughly speaking. Sounds kind of weird. But, I mean, so that's why I'm kind of worried about the whole like 16, 34 gig RAMs eventually adding inside phones. Like, I mean, the fact that this phone allows for a 2 terabyte external memory card.
I saw that. I was like, whoa. I was like, who has that much stuff?
I'm not sure they make a 2 terabyte memory card yet.
Yeah.
Like for the public. Like at a reasonable price for the public. Like, why?
Well, you know how I feel about memory cards, so
yeah, you've got crap luck when it comes to them.
yeah, so this one's a no-no for me. But however, I do love the specs for the phone. I actually would like to see how it progresses and holds up against like the leading flagships from like other companies like Samsung, Apple, LG, Google, HTC. Like I want to see how it holds up against them like as the years go by. So I want to see like how they're going to take this phone and improve it next year if they last next year. I'm hoping that they do.
Actually, I am kind of wondering like how that stacks up. I have it for the mobile that I can search for.
See, I'm at Mr. Wong. We don't care about anything else. We don't care about those headphone jacks.
No, headphone jacks are still important. I don't know what y'all are going with. Okay, so waiting for this to load up. The top single core phone is a Samsung Galaxy S7. What? Followed by, what is this? This looks like the Note 8. Yeah, the Note 8, followed by the Note 8.
Took over the whole, like, there's just like sweeps up the whole market.
It doesn't quite feel right with this. Like I'm seeing like computers mixed in with some of these devices right now. I don't know what's going on with Geekbench. But I mean, that's one thing I'm probably going to take a look at, seeing how it compares and stacks up to, say, the Note 8, the iPhone, during some of these bench tests. Because all I really saw was them comparing it to the Note 8. Sorry, the S8, not the Note 8, which is a more recent device, and I would think would be the one that they'd more want to compare against if they really want to impress people. But let's go back to iPhones really quick. Now, Vicky, can you explain to me why people with the iPhone 8 are getting rid of their iPhone 8s to get ready for their iPhone 10s?
Because, well, I think the main reason now is that the backlog isn't as massive as how like people rumored or like expected it to be. So like persons are now like, oh, I could get that 10 now that I realized I can actually get the phone within this year time frame. But then at the same time, this is like, why? Like if you knew that you wanted the 10, then you want to just like wait and then just like put that extra $200. Well, depends on which model of the 8 you got. But yeah, just put that extra couple of dollars towards it, then for you to go purchase the 8, to have to go sell it, I get less than what you purchased it for. Now you gotta make up the money to purchase the 10.
Okay, so here's my issue with that. Why are you doing that when there's only 20 million units available right now?
Because the iPhone 10 is what's hot. People want that refreshed look. That OLED display, that notch.
And thank you, Nally, for telling me I did not even set up the category proper. Okay, so I don't know. You spend a certain amount of money, like almost $900 for an iPhone 8. You get back $500, maybe around 6, less than 6. Then spend an additional $400, roughly.
Purchase the 10, which didn't make any sense at all. Well, it didn't make sense to me. I don't know, it may seem as coming off to make sense to them.
That seems like a high waste of money. And I mean, okay, here's the thing. The places where these people are selling their phones to are confused as hell. They say this never happens. Typically, they only get like 1% of people turning these phones in. There's like up to 7% of people that are turning their phones in right now. They are confused. They quite literally said this never happens. Oh, Mr. Wan, that's an interesting question. Yeah, what makes people stand in queues to get an iPhone, Vicky? Because we just finished talking about this last week. I would like to know.
I think, well, I don't know. For me, it's just like the joy. Like all I have like that joy when you like freshly unboxing a nice Apple product. Like I don't even want to like take the plastic off my box. Like when I unboxed my 8, like I didn't even want to unbox. Like I literally sat here with the box there for one good couple minutes before I actually opened it. And like after I opened it, I wrapped it back just like how it was. I wrapped it back just like how it was. Don't look at that excitement.
Vicky. Really? Really?
Yeah, I actually have the box right here.
Oh yeah, people. She collects her boxes from Apple.
Yeah,
like she keeps
like,
all of them.
I wrapped it just like how it was when I first opened it. I just feel like it's just like so clean and neat, like when it's just all tidy together.
I'm not gonna get on your case. I feel like I already got on your case last week about this.
I feel like it's just the excitement, and then like I think because Apple is so popular right now, it's just like, but like I feel like there are so many fangirls and fanboys out there. Like whatever they push out, people just like flock to them. Like it could be like they could push out like the worst product ever, and people would still flock to them.
So they could push out their crap.
Essentially, and people would still buy it. So like it really doesn't matter.
And you would buy it too, wouldn't you?
Oh, I mean, I want the book, and it's like $200 for a book that just photos Apple products.
Hold on, did you say you bought the book?
No, I want it. I didn't buy it, but I want it.
Oh Jesus!
What? It'd be so nice, like having your house or something, you know?
No, there's no purpose.
Like, yeah, it's a book. It's a book of Apple products that's dedicated to Steve Jobs. How could I not buy that?
How? Just because it's dedicated. You know what? Where's a rock? I could sell you a rock dedicated to Steve Jobs for $100.
But it has like pictures, and like these are nicely photographed pictures.
Okay, I can print off a picture of Steve Jobs, and like a little drawing that I could put on it and sell it to you for $200. I mean, you're good with that?
Depends.
the fact that you actually had to wait
It's the same.
and think. Okay, so we also had an issue with well, there was a situation where someone did something that they shouldn't have. There was a YouTuber who decided that, you know, since her dad works at Apple, she was going to film her day with her mom, which she says she just usually films regardless, even though she doesn't really have a, like, at the time, a lot of viewers. And you know, she decided that she was going to record when she met with her dad, go into, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, Cafe Mac.
Yeah.
And, you know, show her dad using the iPhone 10 to pay with Apple Pay. And her dad, when they sat down, gave her the phone to take a look at, and she recorded it. And was going through it, showing off what different like some of the different features and how certain apps looked and stuff like that. And then recorded them leaving, showing off where on the outside of there where Steve Jobs had sat, and Kushner had also done his video. I'm sorry, his movie as Steve Jobs. And then her dad got fired because she was recording in Cafe Mac when there were signs that said there's no recording. And she also recorded an iPhone 10 a month before almost everybody else had the opportunity to do so. Granted, she didn't put it out until around the time it was announced and stuff like that, and closer to the time. But Vicky, do you remember what the title of her video was?
Oh no, Chad. I can't even remember. I feel like it was titled iPhone 10. I feel like it had something with iPhone 10 inside the title. I think.
Which our little chat that we have. While that's searching. And 7. Nope, that's not it. Pixel 2 burn-in.
She had a lot of YouTube links. Wow.
Yeah, we do.
When was that? That was last week or week before?
I think the video was the week before. OLED durability test. iPhone X and Cafe Max.
Okay.
iPhone
Same,
X and Cafe Max, like those two key phrases are all in caps. Like that was, it's like it was intentionally saying, hey, look at this.
Clickbait.
Pretty much. So it comes as a surprise to me. And I don't know how you feel about this, Vicky, but when her reaction video came out, stating that people were attacking her dad, were attacking her, you know, saying that her dad's fine, he was fired, so on and so forth. But when she started talking about don't attack my dad, she started crying. And I mean, there's been a lot of controversy about both videos. But maybe this is just me, but she pretty much caused him his job. And I don't think she feels any remorse from it.
And I kind of felt like, I felt super bad for him. I just was there like, oh man, like he should have like he should have spoke to her way in advance, like, oh, you can record, but you can't like upload this because XYZ is the case. Like we have rules and situated, and if you do, and you can cost me my job.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, Natalie, that's essentially the video. This is just like, let me put up a link showing the exact part where she starts showing off the device and whatnot.
Ah, and I think the thing that really pissed them off was the fact that he was recorded using Apple Pay with the iPhone 10, because like that was kind of like one of the main questions, like, oh, how is it gonna work? Because like they only showed like the demo video and they never like showed anybody like, actually using it to pay for their devices. And then I think that was like the main thing that pissed them off. Well, that was the main thing that upset them.
Apparently, we just got a spam of emotes since I. Let me take a quick look. But yeah, I actually do agree. But I mean, there's also the fact that, when she was there, it kind of looked like she was hiding the camera when she was recording. Like, I don't know if that was just me, but it was kind of like it was underneath and stuff like that. And so that kind of would, if that is the case, then that would mean she saw the signs that said not to record. By the way, Sanchu, I do apologize for the whole emote thing. That was just Nightbot doing its thing, protecting it from spam. But I don't appreciate the whole telling me a daft, that particular word. But I don't know. I mean, Apple apparently asked her to take it down. She did, and then they fired her dad. I'm not sure if that was the right way to go. I mean, I kind of get why they did it, because like,
Yeah,
you let one person go and then everyone gets to go, or at least they have a precedent as to, oh well, you let this person do it.
So why can't I?
Exactly.
And then like it's more or less like you kind of knew the rules, you broke the contract that you had already signed, because I'm assuming that he signed the confidentiality contract, clearly. So like you kind of broke the contract that you already signed, and you already broke the rules knowing full well you're not supposed to record inside the cafe and so on. I'm pretty much sure they told him that you can't record the phone either way and share it. So I guess I understand like why they kind of let him go, but at the same time it's still kind of sad for him, because like he just had his daughter come to visit him, have lunch with him, and little did he know that that day would have cost him his job.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm pretty sure the amount of money, if she had ads, because I don't really see ads on, but if she did have ads up, I'm pretty sure the money that she would have made from that is nowhere near the money that you would make from, having a job at Apple as a senior engineer. Oh, yeah. That was just something that really got to me. Got this that video. I hate to say it, but it kind of felt forced and faked.
I mean, like her apology.
That wasn't an apology. That was her saying, "Leave my dad alone," which, like, I'm sorry to say it, it reminded me so much of the Britney Spears dude saying like, "Leave Britney alone," and I'm like, but yeah. But as one of our last topics for tonight, I want to talk about something that's a little odd. There's been a female robot that has gotten citizenship to a country. That country is Saudi Arabia. And funnily enough, one of the first things it did when, it was asked about it, after getting citizenship, it trolled Elon Musk. Now, I'm not going to get into that element, but it pretty much, he says that, robots are going to take over the world if we let them, kind of thing. And it pretty much had a rebuff to that, but it wasn't a big troll. But I just want to read from what Mashable actually says about this particular incident. A robot who has been given a privilege in Saudi Arabia, and this is actually because causing some people some issues with women's rights. The robot has been given a big privilege in Saudi Arabia, and people are questioning if it's unfair to the country's own women. Sophia, the robot made by an American firm, Hanson Robotics, has been officially named a citizen of Saudi Arabia, the first country in the world to grant a robot the right to citizenship. That in itself is kind of weird. Like, do robots really deserve citizenship? They're things. They don't have a soul as of yet. I hope they never do. What's your take on that, though?
You know what I see coming? I could see something like Detroit happening. Yeah, I could see something like Detroit happening. Like I'm so iffy and skeptical of like robots, and especially how this one came about. Like just got like citizens so like free nilly, whereas like you have some females kind of fighting for citizenship, and they have been fighting for citizenship for like about 20, 15 years max. Like some persons. Like here comes this robot, and he just like get citizenship like just like that. But I do feel like robots gonna eventually take over the world, and I am iffy with how they're like pushing robots kind of like slowly out there now.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I'm honestly wondering, will this lead to things like iRobot, where, they become self-aware, they try to take over, things become a mess, and now that we've given them citizenship, can we get them out?
Like people don't learn. Like, have you guys not seen these movies?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I think that's the whole point that Ellen was trying to get at, but obviously people aren't really checking for it. And Mr. Wands apparently already loves her, so I don't know. But okay, so we're continuing from that. She says, I am very honored and proud of this unique distinction. When she was awarded the citizenship, this is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship. Now, by the way, I say she's saying this, we're not 100% sure at this exact moment whether she was programmed to say that, or if that was her artificial intelligence kicking in. It would be kind of scary if it was her artificial intelligence kicking in.
She's gonna be the start. Like, she's gonna be the start of world domination.
Oh god, no. It's the saying that while it's great for Sophia, the news has sparked much criticism, with many online pointing out that Sophia has quickly gained more rights than millions of women in Saudi Arabia. For one, Saudi Arabia is one of a few Muslim majority countries that legally imposes a dress code. Women are required to wear here we go with the word, headscarf, and a abaya, a garment that covers a woman down to her ankles. Sophia, during her speech on stage, was not dressed in either, nor was she accompanied by a male companion, which is also required. So that in itself is also kind of interesting. Like, so she's awarded citizenship, which is technically something should only be applicable to a human, and isn't held by the same moral codes as the country requires for females, even though it's a female robot. Will this then make the distinction of the thing category?
Yes. Maybe they're gonna finally start using the thing category. I've always wondered why they put that on like other.
Not only do not remind me of that cursed racist little bot that Microsoft put out a few years ago. Honestly, I don't know why they put it in Saudi Arabia. Like, they don't really say. It's just like, so I'm guessing they would have talked to some particular countries, and Saudi Arabia was was the one that actually said okay. Because I mean, it's an American company. I don't quite get it.
Spy?
A spy? Hold on, elaborate with that for me.
Oh, they kind of like would have put her inside the country to spy on them.
Huh? That's
I don't know. Like I just feel like I watch too much TV, and like that's what they would have done on TV. I feel like that's what they would have done on TV.
I don't know. Okay, maybe, but I could see that being closely watched. I really don't know how viable that is. But I mean, the overall thing behind it, it's an interesting thing because I mean, granted, in a few years we probably will start having more advanced communications with people. Oh Lord. Okay, let's get this ready. But I don't know. Over time, I can see more and more machines really getting access to things like that. But it's very odd because then machines within themselves, yes, they can host a lot of electronics. So yes, technically speaking, it can spy on things around it, I guess you could say. But there's a certain range. There would have to be a certain range. So Mr. One saying he's sure that she cannot walk, can't talk more than 1,000 words, and we are still not that advanced in robotics. And I have to agree. Like, AI has not really come that far. Sure, we've got Dyson Robotics with walking robots, which they're still trying to work out the whole bipod walking situation. Which, I mean, they're doing fairly well, but so this is, I'm thinking about the future. Oh, thank you. I know my booty's advanced. Wait, no, not a system. But when they're able to walk and stuff like that, and actually able to talk, if we've already given them the access to citizenship, and we then refuse that, will there be lawsuits to say why we're refusing them? Because we've already set precedents. That's a little scary when you think about it, from a legal aspect of things. You're just reading chat, aren't you?
Yeah. The thing what you was funny. But like yeah, like as they start to become more advanced, and like if certain like if some of them like don't get like the authorization for like citizenship, is going to become like a problem. Because if you kind of already give one citizenship, so like how are you gonna then differentiate between the robots who are going to get citizenship compared to those that aren't going to get citizenship?
Exactly. So I think that's an interesting conversation.
They're moving so fast. Like give the world some time to progress, man.
The world's not ready for that, to be quite honest. It
Yeah,
really
like
isn't.
y'all like they I feel like they're like they're like reaching for something that's going to take time for the world to progress too.
And I do have to wonder, like, is this just a public? I mean, no, actually, obviously, this is just a publicity stunt. Okay. Okay. Vicky, that's all you. That's all you. We're not gonna allow that. But Anyway, so I think that covers everything that we wanted to talk about tonight. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Didn't cover?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, do you want to address how OnePlus is keeping their headphone jack for the time being?
That's actually a good point. So OnePlus, the phone manufacturers, decided that, you know, they're not going to follow suit with everybody else. They are going to decide to keep with the headphone jack with the, I think it's the 5T, or is it 5TI? Anyway, they're unreleased device.
5T.
Okay, 5T. Their unreleased and unannounced device, which is just leaking all around the place. They're gonna keep it for that, saying that in essence they know that people want audio file quality. They don't want to give that up and like just cut people off. They were thinking, this is getting distracting now. They were considering also using 2 USB-C connectors, but that didn't turn out so well. They just actually decided against that. And I mean, that was initially one of my thoughts to maybe go with along with it. One for the headphones that were going to be coming out, one for charging. But they decided, you know, not to do that. And that, you know, for everyone who has standard 3.5mm headphone jacks, that would still cut them off from being able to use the device. So they decided, not worth it. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Because then I wouldn't be able to plug this headset in to that phone, for example, even though I have it. And there was one other thing. Actually, Microsoft came out with a very interesting patent idea, at least. So what they're saying roughly is that I'm just going to use my phone as an example. You would have a slot, say like right here or whatever, and it would be flush in with the device. And as you stick in the 3.5mm jack into it, it would start to bulge out on the bottom to give space for it. And that would reduce the required space of the headphone jack by about half. Which is the reason why people are just like saying, oh, we want to get rid of it to save space. Well, this then puts half of the headphone jack on the outside of the device. So that gives more space. Whether it actually catches on or is like done by other companies, and also the fact that it's Microsoft that's doing it and they just finished killing off their Windows Phone. I don't know how viable it's really going to be anymore. But yeah. I don't know. I think it's still gonna be a thing going into next year, and someone will need to come up with a way
to resolve the problem.
Yeah, because this adapter thing, it's not the way people are really wanting it. I know you're fine with it.
I'm fine with it. Like, I just bought a whole Bluetooth transmitter for the car, so I don't have to plug my phone into the adapter. Because it was kind of becoming a pain. I won't lie.
See?
It's just because like I have to keep the adapter secured, because if not, I'm gonna lose it. So like every time I go in the car to listen to music. I gotta like take it out, plug it in, and like do all type of readjustments. So that's like my main reason. With the Bluetooth transmitter, it's like so simple. My Bluetooth's already on. It's gonna be so much easier for me to do it.
I think the way that it's probably going to honestly end up is either
Bluetooth?
no, is either they put back the headphone jack, and they, because of everyone wanting it and like saying we listen to you, so we're going to bring it back, or two, using USB-C and putting two of them on the device, and in Apple's case, I guess having two lightning connectors.
That lightning connector about to be gone in a few years. I holding that to them. I could see they have wireless charging now. It's only a matter of time until they get rid of that lightning cable.
No, because okay, here's the funny thing: the iPhones the new iPhones, because they're glass now, they can do the wireless charging, but they've actually halved the quickness that you can actually use for the wireless charging. So you can't charge up as quickly as, say, if you were to plug in. Not only, I think the reason why they did that is because wireless charging within itself generates a lot of heat. And, you know, they're trying to not have the devices really hot. So,
Hot.
Exactly. So,
I wonder how that's going to pan out with the air power that they have, the big charging mat, because they're going to be able to charge your phone, watch, and AirPods at once. So I wonder how that's going to pan out for that.
I don't know. I do know that they need to sort this out, and it has to happen within the next year, though, because things are starting to get a little... I don't want to have to pay Belkin another $30-something for something that should come proprietary on the device itself. That's just me, though. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a lot of other people. And, I mean, you keep saying Bluetooth, but you saw that when you turned Bluetooth off, your battery lasted a lot longer.
Battery life. Yeah, but I'm so accustomed to always having it on, like it doesn't bother me anymore.
You shouldn't accept mediocrity.
But it's easier to transfer data from my phone to my laptop and to my iPad with Bluetooth always on. You know, just like airdrop it there.
Okay, so use it for that, but your headphones? Really? Like
it was convenient.
So you were using your headphones on your Mac before, your wireless ones.
Yes.
And what did you find out about that?
I found out that the audio quality for those is kind of compressed when compared to like if you use it with a phone. Yeah, which I don't understand. I don't understand what Apple was thinking when they did that. But yeah, so like it's advised like if you're using AirPods to use the laptop or like the computer's mic, because the quality of the mic is compressed when compared to using it on the phone. I think it switches the audio files. I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly, what I read. So that was the thing.
Yeah, so that in itself is another quirk of Bluetooth. So not really the best thing. I am not sure if I should really allow that particular message. Vicky, I will send that one to you just so you can see what this was.
Well then.
There you go. Oh, okay, so he still got it around. It came through. By the way, Mr. Juan, okay. Actually, you can transfer energy from one device to another. It just, there's not a whole lot of devices that actually allow for it. But USB-C is definitely pushing the way forward for that. Which you can't do for an iPhone because it's using Lightning, which is 2.0.
I mean, or you just buy the Lightning to USB-C chargers. But then, like I said, they might have not switched to USB-C because they know deep down inside that they're about to get rid of that port soon.
Get rid of which port soon?
The same Lightning, the charging port.
So why not switch to USB-C?
Because they want to get rid of something, and like they can't. I feel like because like all the other devices use the Lightning to charge. Like you have to use the Lightning to charge the keyboards, the mouse, your phone, iPad, iPods, AirPods. Like all those use the Lightning cable. So like you have to. It's gonna basically be the whole issue. Whereas when they switch from 30 pin to Lightning.
So you're pretty much
Like I
telling
already
me.
invested in like how much lightning cables. Like I don't want me investing in all these cables kind of go down the drain because now Apple says they want to switch completely because they have it there. It's just like it's not implemented like it's our main source.
No, I mean we're almost to the end of the stream though. That's the thing. Like we're just kind of rambling a little bit at this point. I mean, if you want to be in the next episode, well, that's fine by me.
Yay, more gas.
Yep. Okay, so pretty much what you're telling me is that you believe Apple didn't switch over because they want more people to get this device and then have with the next device spend more money on the new adapters that they'd be using then.
No, like I think that they didn't switch it because eventually at like a certain point in time they're going to get rid of the port. Like there's this YouTuber now, Talosive of Tech. He's doing like this portless challenge. So he has not. So he claims he has not plugged in his iPhone since he's gotten it. So he's constantly using between wireless charging and using like a Bluetooth transmitter in his car to listen to music. So that's basically how he's going about life. He's preparing for the big move, per se. But like, yeah, I just feel like they haven't gotten rid of it, or they haven't switched it to USB-C because like eventually they're gonna get rid of it. And like at the present moment, the lightning cables are used to charge like most of their products now. So like you have the Magic Mouse, the keyboards, phones, iPads, iPods, AirPods. So it's just like we've already kind of like threw that out. Oh, and plus the TV remotes, they charge using Lightning. So it's like we already kind of like threw it in our ecosystem. So at the present moment, we're okay with it. We're not going to switch to USB-C, but we're going to give you the option to use USB-C to charge your devices, but you're going to have Lightning at the end and then USB-C on another end. And then if you want to use fast charging, you got to spend like $70 because you got to buy that Lightning to USB-C cable plus the plus the adapter. So
By the way, Mr. One, you were asking about USB-C. Essentially, this is USB-C. It's a reversible. It's a new type of USB cabling. So it's reversible. It actually can transfer a lot more power. You can use it to also connect to a laptop or computer and have it power monitors. It's pretty much the cable to end all cables going forward. So you're probably going to end up with like 3 or 4 of them inside your bag for power, for your USB devices, for your connection to your monitor instead of HDMI. It's just going to be the thing. But eventually it will be used more than likely with all phones. I don't know with Apple, but for now, for example, the 6P, the Nexus 6P has had that for 3 years now. The Galaxy S8 has it. The Galaxy Note 8 has it. A number of other high-end flagship devices from other carriers have it. The MacBook has it as the
the 4th gen Apple TV has it in the back. I don't know exactly what it's for 100%, but they have it in the back. Probably to connect it to a monitor.
Probably.
That might be why. But then they removed it. They removed it in the 4K Apple TV, which I don't understand
That
why
didn't
they
make any
did
sense.
that. None at all.
But okay, so that ends this episode of Tech Talk this week. It's been a very interesting episode, to put it mildly. Especially this chat. Of course, over the weekend, you can expect these episodes to come up on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/morecookies. We also have our podcast if you want to listen to the audio version of it and be wondering why we're kind of chuckling at these things inside chat, which you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, tune in. I'm pretty sure Spotify will probably have it sometime soon, and a number of other podcasting sites. Or you can head to our website, morecookies.com, and check out the episodes there as well. Or Facebook at facebook.com/morecookies. Yeah. So the link to the YouTube is /morecookies. So I'd like to thank my guest, Vicquell, for coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to thank all of my viewers and chatters, especially Nelly Boy, Mr. Juan, and Man, for making the stream interesting. Let me take a quick look at something as well. Do you really want him to give his last words, Mr. Juan? Do you really want him to give his last words? But yeah, so I'd like to also thank Sammy Boy for following during the stream. Okay, so this is Michael Armogan, your host, saying thank you. I will probably be playing some games after this, so feel free to stick around for a little bit in case you want to do that. Until next time. Oh, right. Esports will be back next week, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, Tech Talk will be back next week as well on Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Until next time, take care.